Hi guys, Story Lori, and this is the second part of Peter Rabbit. Do you remember what happened? He was in the flower pots and knocked them over, and Mr. McGregor said, I'm done with that, Bunny. I'm going back to work. Peter sat down to rest. He was out of breath and trembling with fright. He had not the least idea which way to go. Also, he was very damp from sitting in that water can. After a time, he began to wonder about going lippity-lippity, not very fast, and looking around. He found a door in the wall, but it was locked. There was no room for a fat little rabbit to squeeze underneath, and an old mouse was running in and out over the stone doorstep carrying peas and beans to her family in the wood. Peter asked her the way to the gate, but she had such a large pea in her mouth that she could not answer. She only shook her head, and Peter began to cry. There's that little mouse, and look at the pea in her mouth. Isn't that funny? She couldn't answer Peter. Then Peter tried to find his way straight across the garden, but he became more and more puzzled. Presently, he came to a pond. A white cat was staring at some goldfish. She sat very, very still. Peter thought it best to go away. He had heard about cats from his cousin, Benjamin Bunny. There's Peter right there. He doesn't want any part of that cat, does he? Peter went back toward the tool shed. Suddenly, quite close to him, he heard the noise of a hoe. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Peter scurried underneath the bushes, but presently, as nothing happened, he came out, climbed upon a wheelbarrow, and peeped over the edge. The first thing he saw was Mr. McGregor hoeing his onions. His back was turned toward Peter, and beyond him was the gate. Oh, that's how he gets out. Peter got down very quietly off the wheelbarrow and started running as fast as he could along a straight walk behind some black currant bushes. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner, but Peter did not care. He slipped underneath the gate and was safe at last in the woods outside the garden. You think you'll get home safely? Mr. McGregor hung up the little jacket and shoes for a scarecrow to frighten the blackbirds. Peter never stopped running and never looked behind him till he got home to the fir tree. Look at, there's Peter's little jacket and shoes. Mr. McGregor made a scarecrow, and there's Peter running for his life. He was so tired that he flopped down upon the nice soft sand on the floor of the rabbit hole and shut his eyes. His mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had done with his clothes. It was the second little jacket and pair of shoes that Peter had lost in a fortnight. Look at his mom's cooking. There's his sisters. I am sorry to say that Peter was not very well during the evening. His mother, his mother put him to bed and made some chamomile tea. She gave a dose of it to Peter, 1 tablespoon to be taken at bedtime. But Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberries for supper. Probably because they were good bunnies. There they are. All right, the end. What a cute story about Peter the Rabbit getting into trouble. All right, you guys, Easter is coming up in about a week and a half. And I hope you have fun. I hope you get to rejoice and hunt Easter eggs and maybe fly a kite outside and have some fun with your family and friends. All right, see you next time.